Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Runna Podcast. We are here in Newcastle ahead of the AJ Bell Great North Run and with a very, very special guest, which is the incredible Paula Radcliffe. We're going to be chatting through your incredible career as well as sharing some incredible tips and tricks for anyone running a half marathon coming up. But before we get into it, I'm Ben, head coach at Runna.
And I'm Anya, a coach at Runna as well, and elite marathon runner. And yeah, Paula needs absolutely no introduction, but I'm going to give her one. Obviously, she's one of my biggest inspirations, but also held the marathon world record for 16 years, 3-time London Marathon winner, and twice AJ Bell Great North Run champion as well. Thank you so much for coming on. We like to start all of our podcasts with the same question. What got you into running?
That question is hard for me to answer because when I think back, it's really difficult to remember a time when I wasn't running. I grew up, my dad was running marathons. He took part in some of the first London marathons, ran a couple of Mersey marathons as well. So I would join in with him and on his Sunday run at the weekend, join in for little bits. And I knew I really loved running. I ran at school and I basically joined a club as soon as I was old enough to. So I pestered and pestered. There was a girl at school that I ran with who was a year older. And so she had said, as soon as you're 9, you can join the athletics club. So I did that as soon as I was 9. So from then, for sure, I was running. But before then, it was I just loved the feeling of running, particularly in the forest.
So it really was just play with your dad?
Play with my dad, a little bit competition as well. I think I like that feeling of kind of pushing myself as much as racing other people. Yeah. I kind of really, really enjoyed that. But yeah, I just like the feeling.
And because you'd had that time running with your dad, maybe before you're into that competition, were you immediately good? Were you better than all the other kids your age?
No. But I guess I had reasonably early lessons that if you work hard at it, you can kind of make improvements. So one of those first ones was the local schools, inter-schools cross country. And the first one, I ran it. I actually ran really well. I came second, but I wanted to beat the girl who'd beaten me. And my dad knew that the next one was in the forest nearby to where we lived. So he took me there at the weekend to practice running around the course. And that's where actually he taught me to run downhill or to run off the top of the hill. So basically just explain, look, a lot of people get to the top of the hill and then they think, I've done it now, take a little bit of a breather and kind of recuperate and stuff and then get back into it. And he said, if you keep running hard over the top and down the hill, you're not really using that much more energy, but you'll get a gap. And it worked then when I was about 9. And then it worked again when I won the World Cross Country in Boston. And that's the exact same thing that I used then.
You didn't ever hate the fact that your dad was trying to coach you? Because I just remember being a child.
He never tried to coach me. Okay. He never ever coached. My mum and dad were brilliant in terms of it was always my sport and they would take me wherever I needed to go, which for a lot of my career was more than a taxi driver because they were flying off to lots of different places as well. But I never felt like they would be disappointed if I didn't run well. I never felt like there was pressure. In fact, the only time I remember my dad shouting at me, he had driven me to Mansfield for the Interleague, when you get the red vest and represent the south of England against the north and the Midlands. And I was really nervous, so nervous that I was nearly sick before. And he basically said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not bringing you if you're going to get that nervous. It's supposed to be fun. And so that's the only time I really remember him getting mad with me. The rest of the time, it was just supporting me. And then much later, or actually earlier to that race, when I went down to Bedford and I did my first national cross country, I came 299th in the under 13 girls. There were 605 girls around that day. On the way back, my coach decided he was putting a team together to try and win it. So he went to my mum and he said, look, can Paula come to the track twice a week instead of once a week? I'm going to try and train a team to win it next year. And she looked at him and she said, why are you asking me? It's her. You need to ask her. And so the fact that he thought I was good enough to be in that scoring team, because I'd been 8th scorer that time, was enough for me to ditch judo and go running twice a week. And so that was kind of early lessons that if you work towards it. And then the next year I was 4th.
Wow.
I mean, I was top of the age group then, so it made it much easier, and we won the team. So that was kind of early lessons that set goals, work towards them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you work hard, then you improve, certainly.
And was it an easy choice to ditch the judo and go all in on the running?
Yeah, it was then. But I loved it. And I think I loved being a part of that team. And I really was excited that he thought I could be good enough to kind of step up into that scoring team.
And so, you go.
No, I was going to say, I kind of wish I ran when I was younger and had that like cross-country team aspect. Is that what you liked? Was it like a social sport, seeing your friends? And did that change when you were told, well, you're going to go to the track twice a week, it's going to become more of a competition?
No, that didn't change at all. We were competitive, but that was my social life. It was my friends were largely, because you have more in common with them, we're largely down at the athletics club, and we had a really good group. And so, yes, absolutely, it helped. And I think it probably kept a lot of the group interested. To be honest, I think I probably would have done even if I'd been on my own, but it made it that much more fun. And it certainly means that now with my kids, I really understand that it's not just about the sports they enjoy doing, it's about the social life that's involved with it as well. And that's why we see so many kids gravitate towards football, because there's a ready-made team there and you've got a lot of people doing it. So you need to kind of make sure that all those bits are in place.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting because running is so often viewed as this like this kind of individual sport that people can do around a job, and a lot of adults will move into running when they leave their team sports at uni behind. Mm-hmm. Did you find as you became more of the star, and it was more about your performances and maybe less of the team, that you felt more of as an individual, or was it always that team with everyone around you supporting and training partners?
No, I think it becomes, it kind of goes both ways, because yes, it becomes more about you as an individual, but it also, the team gets bigger almost. So as I kind of got more successful, then that team around me got bigger, but they weren't my peers that I was racing with anymore. But I still very much stayed in contact with them. And I think, you spend a lot of time, particularly once you get to marathon, you spend a lot of time away in training camps, doing training. I think you've got to be with people that you enjoy being with, and you've got to really enjoy all of that to be able to stick at it and kind of stick with it through the rough times.
So at what point did you realise you were more competitive than just south of England, Redvest, Mansfield? When did you really think I could give this a go?
Late, I think. I think I basically just had the goal when I was a kid. I just wanted to get faster each year and beat my personal bests and keep improving. And broader than that, just to see how good I could be. Probably the turning point for me was when I won the World Junior Cross Country Championships in 1992, because it was the year I was leaving school. I was doing my A-levels. I was all set to go to Loughborough University. And the fact that I won that World Junior title kind of gave me the belief then, okay, I'm going away to uni. I was doing a 4-year course because I studied languages. So I thought that gives me 4 years to try and make it as a professional athlete kind of by the time I come through uni. So I felt like that was a kind of time frame that fit, and that was the first race that gave me the belief that I could do that.
And how was it juggling uni while being one of the best runners for your age in the country?
It was great. I don't have anything else to compare it with. But for me, I went to Loughborough University. Loughborough really worked. I had a ready-made kind of group of guys that I could kind of jump in with and get pulled around with in training when I wanted to, and they kind of all looked after me as well. I was like the little sister just tagging along, and so that kind of really helped. My running improved because I had that. It just kind of, it fit together. I was enjoying my course, I was enjoying my studies, and I was enjoying traveling through my running, because I'd also chosen to study languages because I wanted to travel. So it kind of fit together.
And did you manage to go pro immediately come the end, meet the timeline that you aimed for?
Yeah, I have told my daughter this. I actually funded myself through uni, but only by the middle bit of it. And to be fair, when I went to uni, it was like tuition fees were covered, and you didn't have the expenses that students have now going into it. But yes, by kind of second, third year of uni, by the second year, I was able to not make a full living from it, but enough to support myself through uni.
And
enough to give it a go.
Did that ever change your love? Because at this point you're running competitively and it's all going really well, and now you've got the pressure of your livelihood. Did it change your love of running at all?
No. I mean, I think it was, like I say, it was a gradual time, and I'd also had a pretty testing time in that, in my kind of end of the second year at uni into my year abroad, in fact, where I'd picked up a really bad foot injury coming up to the World Cross Country, so in February time. And that was actually a foot injury that ended my career in the end, because it was an navicular stress fracture that they didn't find then. But it was a long time. It was almost 9 months out from running. So I think I just really appreciated the fact that I could get back to running. I had worked at my year abroad because I had to spend 6 months or 5-6 months in Germany, and then the same in France. So I actually found a job in Germany so that I could then go and stay at the high altitude training centre in Font-Romeu in the Pyrenees for my stint in France. So I wasn't like I was afraid. I was like, if it doesn't work out, I've got my degree. I worked hard for my degree. My parents and my coach were kind of like, you've got to have a backup because you're always one injury away from it being over. So I think I just thought, right, this is just fun. Let's just see how far it can go. And then I ended up at 40 something thinking, oh, I've got to get a proper job now.
And if you got injured in your second year of uni and it was quite a bad injury, how did you keep that dream alive and, you know, like not just go out all the time and decide to like pack it all in and be like, I'm just going to live my normal like uni life?
I think I just knew it was really important to me. I mean, I do vividly remember at one point I'd gone back down. My parents were still in Bedford. I'd gone back down to see them. I went to see a specialist and kind of looked at my foot, and he looked at me and he said, look, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to run again. And I kind of went back home to my mum and dad, and I was like in floods of tears. And my dad's like, but millions of people go through life and they don't run and they're fine. And I'm like, I'm not millions of people. I just couldn't give up on it. And then I just kept, I guess I'm stubborn. I just kept going to different people until I got answers, and then just tried to work through it. And I was able to get back. And certainly that makes you appreciate it more.
Mm. And then fast forward, you went to the Olympics by the time you'd graduated from uni. How did you like turn that around in the last 2 years?
I mean, I think, again, once I'm very much, if I'm happy, I run well. So I was happy to be able to get back running. I loved the Pyrenees. So that kind of coincided, me discovering Font-Romeu with my foot recovering enough to be able to run and train properly on it. I really responded well to altitude for the first time. So that kind of gave me a boost going into that summer of 95. I went to World Championships. The following year was the Olympics. I had my finals as well. So I couldn't wait around for results. I couldn't do graduation in the summer. I remember actually being asleep up in my room in the tower of the training centre in the Pyrenees, and my husband now called me to let me know the results of my exams, and then I just basically went out, did a training session, came home, picked up my kit, and then went out to Tallahassee for the training camp before Atlanta. So it kind of it all fit together well enough that time. Yeah,
and you were 22 then. Just before this, you were saying that you even almost went to the Olympics when you were 18.
Yeah, I mean, that race, I wasn't aiming to at all. I just had, again, finished my A-levels, there's a bit of a theme here. I run well after exams. I went up to Birmingham, and I finished 4th in the 3,000 meters there in a personal best that was just a qualifying time, I think. But I hadn't, the Olympics wasn't on my radar that year. I was getting ready for the World Junior Championships, and they were coming up in September. So it wasn't like I was disappointed to finish 4th. I was just really excited, thinking, oh, next time around I can try and make that team. So it kind of gave me belief more than that. And then I had the World Juniors to concentrate on, came 4th there. And I remember watching those Barcelona Olympics on TV, thinking that this is kind of more of a learning. I wasn't watching it thinking, I wish I was there. I was watching the races just to see what I could learn from that.
And at what point, or did ever, your thinking change from just what you said earlier, which is I wanted to just keep getting a little bit faster, to believe that one day you could set world records?
I mean, I think even then, you're just trying to run faster. That's all you're trying to do.
And that was the case the whole way through, even when you're in your peak of your career setting world records, that never changes.
No, because I think I was still just trying to run faster than I had done before. I do think that first London Marathon was really important for me because I basically just fell in love with, I found the distance that worked for me, and the marathon fit me and fit my mentality, fit my style of running really, really well. And it gave me the belief that day. So I set off, and we'd been around and we'd looked at the course with my husband and my coach and kind of studied it. But the plan was really just to sit in for the first half. And I get to Cutty Sark and I ended up just running off. And then my dad had also said when I was little, if you've got a gap, don't look behind, just keep going. I thought, well, I feel all right. So I'll just kind of keep going. And I was really just having fun with it. And none of the splits meant anything to me. I knew what the halfway split was, and I kind of doubled that in my head and thought, oh, I'm running maybe a little bit quicker. But I didn't realize I was as close as I was. And the world record at the time was 2:18:47. And I ran 2:18:56. And it was only when I turned the final corner in the front of the palace, and I saw the clock and I thought, oh, I'm sure the world record is something like that. So I crossed the line and I said to my husband, I can beat that. I know I can beat that. So then it was still about me just running faster than I had done before, but I just knew that only needed to be more than 9 seconds and I could get the world record.
I think that's so special, because the thing that it shines through for me is that it's just about you, and like you want to be the best version of yourself. And it's really interesting. We've obviously chatted to a few other incredible accomplished athletes, and it's the theme that shines through with everyone. We spoke to Alex Yee after he got his gold medal, and the thing he said is next Olympic cycle he wants to go a little bit faster. And it's not about the competition, which is what's so interesting, because from a spectator's perspective,
that's what makes it so special, and that's what makes the camaraderie so strong, because you have 57,000 people taking part in the same event, and essentially everyone's trying to do the same thing. They're just trying to get to that finish line as well as they can do, and that's what I think brings everyone together, because you get that. And there isn't really another sport where you can have that many people at the same time doing exactly the same thing.
And I think that's the case, whether it's the marathon, whether it's the half marathon and the Great North Run, or whether that's park run. Like everyone out there is doing their very best. And, that's the thing that almost can relate everyone within the start, from the first to the last finisher.
Yeah, and even within that, there are so many people who will watch an elite marathon, will watch the races on Sunday. They'll look at the 5K breakdowns and they'll relate it to their own park runs. And it gives, I mean, my son does it all the time. They'll just look at the markers and they'll work out where they need to go to next to try and improve.
Yeah, it's really true. So when did you break the world record, and how did that happen?
I broke it in Chicago in 2002. And so I had come off the bat. I mean, 2002 was like a dream year for me. I'd done the London Marathon. I then went into the track season. I ran a massive personal best in my first race out in the track season in Monaco. And I had kind of come into the year with a little bit of the expectation, okay, I've moved up to the marathon. I've run as fast as I'm going to on the track. It's now about kind of moving to the road. And what I actually found was that the strength I'd gained from the marathon made me faster on the track. And so I ran a personal best in Monaco, which is still probably, in my mind, the most surprising of my track personal bests, because that was just a first race out and I ran 8:22. And I don't think I ever thought I could run that fast. And then I won the Commonwealth Games 5,000 and set a personal best. And then I went to Munich and did the 10,000 meters and I got the European record. And Ingrid Christensen had been a big idol of mine growing up when I was getting into running, and then given me some advice moving to the marathon as well. So it was kind of, for me, it was really special to be able to get that European record from her. And then I chose not to run the 5,000 meters at the European Championships to get ready for Chicago. That training went really well. And I was racing the world record holder at the time in Catherine de Reber out there. So first and foremost, it was win the race and then see about the time. But I kind of figured that by running fast was the best chance I had of beating her anyway. So the two kind of worked together. And it was special for me because my lucky number is inherited from my grandma and was number 17. Is number 17. Mm-hmm. And I actually, when I crossed the line, it said 2 hours 17. And they rounded it up to 18 afterwards, but it was cool.
And did you stand on that start line after the year you'd had, like being like, I can win this, I can get this, like, yeah. And how did you not like let that, consume you?
I think there's like, because that was what was different for me with the marathon. Like for the cross country, a couple of times on the track, it was always like, okay, I'm going to try my very best to win. But there was more of a quiet confidence in the marathon. And I think it was because I knew I was in really good shape. And I also knew that I had more options. Whereas if I was on the track in the cross country, I kind of had to run away from people, or I had to have a really tough course like I had in Ostend to be able to win and get away from the very best. Whereas in marathon, it's different. It's not a sprint at the end. It's kind of who's stronger as well. And I felt like there were a lot more options for me in the way that I raced it, which then gave me more confidence on the start line. But you still feel nervous, but you have to feel nervous because that means it matters to you, and that means you're going to push yourself harder out there.
Yeah. And how did it feel, and did your life change after that?
It did feel, but it wasn't like, I guess when you're growing up, when you're a kid, you kind of think, oh, a world record, it's going to be like absolutely like, I don't know, like a massive big thing. And it is, but it's more like a satisfaction, and it's more sustained. And there's not really, or there wasn't for me like a come down, a bit like the first marathon. Everyone kind of finishes that first marathon and it's like, yeah, I've done that. And I feel a little bit stronger as a person. And that's, I guess, what it was like with that. It was something that we'd worked towards, and it's nice. It's sort of nice when any of our goals come off. And so it was nice to kind of move on from that and have the confidence. And then the next thing was about trying to improve it. And when I ran 2:15, I honestly thought I would be able to run quicker after that, but it just never happened, which I guess teaches everyone you kind of got to seize those opportunities when they're there. And
so I guess it kind of comes back to that motivation, which is just always being better than yourself, that you didn't maybe encounter a gold medal syndrome, setting the world record at 2:17 and thinking you could now got all this pressure, and you don't think about that, and instead keep doing what you're doing and you can keep shaving off time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, the only times that I felt pressure was when I was injured and I wanted to be able to perform, but I couldn't because my body was letting me down. They're the only times really in my career when I would say I really felt like an unbearable pressure. I think the rest of it, it is just sport at the end of the day. And it's kind of like, if you're in shape, it feels much easier anyway. It's when you have the doubts nagging away in the back of your mind because you know there's some kind of injury that you can't go out and absolutely push yourself. That's when, for me, I found it much, much harder.
I think the energy that you talk about running is just, I think it just shines through that you've found this love of it as a kid. And that seems to me anyway, the thing that's shone through all of these incredible performances. Do you like reflect back and wonder if it is more environment, more genetical, or just this wonderful mix of everything?
I've never. Yeah, I mean, I think some people will ask and they'll say, "Oh, where did it come from?" And it's like, well, where does what come from? Because it's all a mix. And I remember my coach saying, as a kid, he actually said, and he didn't say it in a nasty way. He said, "You're not the most talented, naturally talented person that I have in the group, but you are the most talented to be able to work hard and to work towards something." And I think it's that coming together. And that's why it is important that you love what you're doing, because you've got to work hard at it and you've got to be able to push yourself. But that wasn't a sacrifice. That was like a game. That was like, it was fun doing that just to see what you could do. So I think it's got to be a mix of lots of things. And I talked about my grandma. I certainly inherited a lot of her mentality of just keep trying in a different way. Just do the things that you enjoy doing and kind of have fun with it.
Have you ever had a marathon that didn't go to plan?
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, the biggest one is Athens in the Olympics, and then obviously Beijing wasn't much better either, and I didn't even get to the start line of London. But yes, there are marathons that don't go to plan. There are marathons that don't go to plan, you still win. And they still go well, but there are ones that can be a disaster as well. And that's the thing I think about the marathon is it's always going to be something that you have to respect, no matter how suited to it you are, or how good at it you are, or how much you prepare. Sometimes it can still kick you in the teeth, and you've just got to be able to kind of accept that and ride with it. It's a bit like I say, marathon's a bit like life. There are ups and downs, and you've got to go with it and enjoy the good times and work hard through the difficult times.
And how do you dust yourself off and get back to training after a bad one?
Because that's my healing as well. That's kind of always helped. It just makes me feel better to go out for a run, kind of to take all the pressure away. I'm not saying go and do a hard tempo run or a track session or something, but just to go and run and just to kind of be alone with my thoughts has always been my way of kind of processing stuff. And so, yeah, whether I'm happy or sad, like I can process it better if I'm running. So that helps.
So life since those dream years, setting the world records or the championships, did you keep that respect for running? Did you still enjoy running? How did it move on?
I think it changes as you get older, and targets change, and it's like, I remember my daughter saying to me, "But Mum, I don't love running like you do." And I said, "Well, I'm not sure it was the same. I enjoyed it when I was her age, but it wasn't the same as it is now, where she'll just look at me sometimes and go, you just need to go out for a run. You just look really stressed. Just go for a run and come back." And so it's kind of evolved into that way now, where it's like a part of my life that I can share with friends. It can be a social run. And for a lot of my career, it wasn't that. It was more me pushing myself and kind of being alone there. So I think that is why we all run, because there's so many things it can be at different stages of our life. I'm going through that stage right now where I love running with my son, because he's kind of, he's leaving me behind at the moment, but he's got to that stage where I'm actually thinking, wow, you're really loving this, and I can see that in his eyes, and it feels really special to see him kind of discovering that same passion.
Was it hard to retire though?
I always knew that was going to be forced on me. I always knew, and I used to say to my coach jokingly when I was still in my teens, I used to say, I'm not going to choose to retire, because, like I've said, it was, and it still is, my hobby. And I was just lucky that I got to make my career kind of doing my hobby. So I guess I always knew that it was going to be, my body was just breaking down. And it's not fun when you're training for something and then you get hurt and you can't do the competitions and you're just constantly breaking down. That's not fun. So that was kind of forced on me there. But again, it got mixed up because I had to have a big foot operation, and they said to me, I don't know if you'll be able to get back to running. So the disappointment of having to retire kind of got lost in the enjoyment of being able to get back to doing some kind of social running and being able to run just for me. So it kind of balanced itself out. I was disappointed not to be able to do it, but I was extremely grateful to be able to just get out and run.
And how's your motivation changed to get out the door and run now that you're not training for world records?
It's very different. I mean, we had to do a podcast with Tomo, and we had Joan Benoit Samuelson on, and she was a big idol of mine growing up, and she had a really great way of expressing it. And she basically said, I used to plan my day around my running, and now I plan my running into my day. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, it's not the end of the world if I can't get a run in. But if there is time, even if it's only like 15, 20 minutes, I'll probably still squeeze that in. Whereas when I was actually training, I would have thought, it's not even worth getting in the shower if I've done less than half an hour. So that kind of balance changes, and you just do fit it in when you can. And also as you get older, you can't do it straight out of bed either. Take some time to walk around first and loosen up.
Does it almost feel like now you're going back to just zero pressure running, just running in the woods again and running for fun because it's your happiness?
I mean, people ask me and say, how many miles are you running now? What pace do you run? I don't run. I run with a watch to be able to see what time it is and how long I've been out and when I need to get back. And also so the kids can ring me if they need me, because I refuse to run with a phone. But I don't time stuff. And I kind of did a little bit this year when I came back to doing the marathons, but more just for the long runs, just to see like when I should take a gel and things like that. I wasn't measuring things off.
Wow. Why did you decide that this year was the year you wanted to tick off all the majors and go back and finish
It was more that this year it just fit. The run that kind of gave me the belief that it was possible. Because when I finished my career, I thought, okay, now I had all these goals that I would like to do comrades, I would like to do things like that. And I decided with my foot that just wasn't going to be possible. And then in 2023, Nike got in touch about 2 weeks before Berlin Marathon and said, would you come and do we're going to put together elite pacer teams. So would you come and pace a group around the marathon? So I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, well, I'd love to. And then they said, well, would you go with the 2:30 group? And I'm like, no, it's 2 weeks. I said, put me with a slower group and it's fine. And then when I got there, I realised that all the pacers that they'd brought in, they'd brought in like Grant Fisher and Craig Engels, people like that. And they were only going to 10K. And I said, well, why am I only going to go to 10K? This is what I used to do. So I'll go the whole way and I'll run the whole way. So I went with the 3:15, 3:30 group. But then they said to me, well, you can't actually go the whole way and make it out and get back on the plane to get back because my kids were going to start school the next day. So you're going to have to come off at 36K. And so I ran with the group, and one of the runners was starting to struggle about 30K. So I was like, okay, get him behind me, just basically fixate on my back, and let's just get you back on pace. And we got her back on pace, coming up to 36K, and she's like, you can't leave me. Okay, I can't leave you. So I carried on to 38K, and I found another pacer who had a group, and he was trying to break 3:30. So I kind of latched my group onto his and then ran back up the course to get my pickup. So I ended up running like 40K or so, and my foot was sore the next day, but that was the only bit of me. And so I thought, okay, maybe it's manageable that I can tick these off, because actually Berlin I'd already done. So I didn't need to run through the finish on that one. Then I started looking at the timetables of things, and it helped that I didn't put in the European indoors into my timetable. And so it looked really doable this year. So I kind of committed to that. And then I realized it was getting on a flight straight out to Tokyo, and trying to manage that. But I was able to tick it off. So it was fun to be able to do it. It was frustrating because my body couldn't do what it was capable of doing. And I took my calf tore at 9 miles. And so it was not as enjoyable as it should have been, being able to run Boston, but I still loved being able to get it done.
Do you have some big goals outstanding with your running? Do you want to do more marathons? What do you want to achieve?
No, I mean, just to be able to keep going. I talked about Joni, and for me, Ingrid Christensen as well, are kind of big inspirations, and they're still able to enjoy their running. And that's what I'd rather cut it back now rather than go for some big challenge now and then not be able to run because I pushed my foot too far. I'd rather kind of just balance it out and just be able to keep doing it for as long as possible. That's
amazing. And so much has changed in the world of running, with running shoes and watches, and you mentioned you don't track so much.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder back to what world record times you could have set with some faster shoes or better fueling or any of these things?
If I had something, for as many times as I've been asked that question, what do you think you could have run in the shoes? And it's that perennial question. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can have all the experts look at it and kind of analyze it and try and work it out. The more I've thought about it, the more I'm actually really grateful that I kind of had my time when I had my time. Because I think the things that kind of put me a little bit ahead were advantages that might be negated by the technology now. I mean that in terms of the fact that my body was very good at absorbing a lot of training and recovering from it. And so kind of, I would have had a longer career with the shoes, but a lot of people would have been able to do as much training as I was. And so it might not have resulted in me being that much quicker.
And I guess reflecting back, it was perfect, so you can't change anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't change it anyway, so there's no point thinking about it.
Absolutely.
And do you wish you were racing the AJ Bell Great North Run this weekend? What did it mean to you to win this twice?
This is huge. I mean, this area is the best in the country for understanding running and really being enthusiastic about running. And that's why Brendan kind of started the event in the first place. And I can remember coming up here as a kid to take part in what became the Great North Cross Country, but then it was just the Durham Cross Country, and really loving it then and kind of watching the Great North Run on TV and thinking, one day I want to be able to do that. And then you graduate to actually running in it, and then you find yourself winning it. There is something really, really special about it. And I mean, those kind of things. So yes, when I'm watching the runners on Sunday, there's a big part of me. It's certainly remembering how special it is to be out there. And good luck to everybody who is going out to race. It is really special. And if I can't be out there running, the next best thing is to kind of have the privilege of be there commentating, and to kind of have the best view of the race and of the party and the atmosphere, because it is like that. It's like a big carnival, and it kind of really brings out, I think, the best in running in the region, and hopefully we get great weather as well.
It's the best of both worlds, because you get the race atmosphere, but you only have to go half as far.
I did think that the first time I ran it, I did think there's no way I'm ever going to turn around and go back. That's just like too far.
Absolutely. So what would be your top tips for someone running a half marathon on the weekend?
Biggest one is have fun. Do not change anything now in terms of the shoes you're going to run in, the kit that you're going to run in. That's all decided. Just make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to get to the start. You take something warm to stay warm and hydrated at the start, and really just enjoy it. It is an amazing course. The crowds are brilliant the whole way along. The volunteers are brilliant. It's got an amazing finish, so save a little bit for that last mile or so along the seafront, because once you drop down, you kind of think you've done it all, but you've still got quite a little bit to go there. So save a bit of energy for that last mile.
I'm getting very excited. What would be your typical pre-race dinner or breakfast the morning of?
For a half or for a full? I think I would probably be, in all honesty, I would be a little bit more careful the night before a marathon than for a half marathon. Half marathon would kind of be less focused on carb loading and making sure you've got enough of the carb drinks. But I would still have something like that in the morning. Night before, I mean, it tends to be what's available in an athlete hotel, but it's obviously going to have some pasta, some rice, some potatoes, and some kind of protein in there as well. And then in the morning, I was a big fan. I used to have porridge made with water, some melted dark chocolate in there as well, some chopped up banana, honey, and kind of cup of coffee, and then energy drink, and go with it. Well, I mean carb drink, not caffeinated one.
And do you have any pacing tips for these guys racing tomorrow?
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully the pacing's already in your head, and I would say stick to that. And it's not as important as it is in the marathon, but try not to go off too fast. I mean, here, the first almost 3 miles kind of does feel like it's a little bit downhill. There are some pulls after that, particularly from 9 to 11. So just kind of remember that, just hold it back a little bit in the first half, and save some of that energy for the final bit.
Wow, that sounds fantastic, and we're all very excited to do that this weekend. We would like to ask you some of our funnier, sillier this or that. So we're going to present you 2 very silly options, and you've got to pick your preference of the 2. Would you rather, and Annie, you're going to have to answer this one as well, would you rather only be able to run in your 2003 Nike Air Street trainers, or only be able to train with your vintage 2000s sport watch? And I feel like the answer might have been answered already from getting to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I have my watch anymore. But I do have the shoes. Yeah.
Well, what were the shoes? Do you wear carbons now?
Yes. Yes and no. I mix it. Mm-hmm. But no, there's a huge advantage. I think particularly kind of as I've got, like, as my foot is obviously a little bit battered, and the carbon and particularly the foam really do help recovery. And if I'm traveling, for example, when I'm going out to Tokyo, and normally I would choose to run off-road as much as possible. I can't do that when I'm away at championships. So I will actually take a pair of, like, the Vaporfly with me, and actually just run in those there, because my foot will survive that.
What about you, Anya? Would you rather a pair of shoes that are 20 years backwards in technology, or a very primitive watch?
I did just think about that, but I think no watch. It will just bring it back to, like, the organic, like, racing against other people. I quite like doing laps of the local park and just doing it instead of, like, reps or by pace or time. I just do it like 1 lap of the park, and then, like, it's like primal instinct, run in a pack.
Oh, I find if I'm doing laps of the park, I'll lose track of the laps. If you'll lose your Battersea Park laps if you're doing a long run running there.
True, there wouldn't be any Strava.
Yeah, I think I might go for an old pair of shoes and a modern watch. But anyway, okay. Next up, would you rather eat only plain porridge forevermore, or have honey and bananas on every single meal?
Oh my God. I actually like food. I don't think either one of those sounds great. I think being stuck with the same thing. Oh my God. You can put the honey and bananas on anything.
On anything.
It has to be on everything.
On your roast dinner.
Because I would get very bored with just porridge forever.
What are you doing?
Yeah, honey and banana on everything.
I think that's another easy choice. Okay, right. Finally, would you rather still hold the world record for the marathon today, but nobody knows you do? Or only
I know I do?
You know,
Oh,
but
okay.
nobody else knows. Or only have held the record for a year, but everyone knew.
No, I still have it, but only I know.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that, again, rings true with everything you said about how running is for you.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think so many people who want to win in the glory and show off to the world. So I think that's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's not just me. I think that's a big mix, because a lot of people don't really think about. It's not about trying to be famous. It's just trying to be the best that you can be. And see what comes with it. And if you know you are, then that's enough.
Yeah. Our final question we like to ask all of our guests is to design your dream race. So what is it? How far is it? Where is it? What food and drink is at the finish line? And who would present you with your award?
Oh, wow. That's a lot of things. You have to remind me as we're going through them.
So
again.
where and what?
Where and what? I feel like it's kind of got to be a mix of roads and trails, because like my first love was cross country. So I think, having a bit of forest, it's got to be by the sea as well. I like a bit of a beach in there. It's mixing this up. It's going to be quite difficult to actually find it. And I feel like it's going to be kind of close to the marathon distance. What was the
And then
other one?
food and drink
Food
at the
and
finish.
Oh, wow. You know, on my bucket list was the Madoc Marathon, and it's
That's
still
tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, actually, because I was going to do it for my 50th, and then it clashed, and then it just didn't work out. And we forgot to enter as well. But which you kind of need to do, don't you?
You did the wine without the running.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that's going to be at the finish line, because that was one I like. My dad kind of studied a lot of wines and grapes and things like that, and kind of passed that down to me. So I do like drinking it, but I also like kind of visiting the vineyards as well. So I think there has to be some of that in there.
And who would present you with your award?
Can it be anyone?
Yeah.
I feel like somebody cool that I never got to meet, like Emil Zatopek.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Anya! Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Does everyone else know who he is? No. Oh my God. Help me out here, because I'm probably going to get the year wrong.
I think you should tell us all.
Emil Zatopek was Czech, and he did the triple at the Olympics, the 5,000 meter, 10,000 meter, and the marathon. I kind of think from memory it was his first ever marathon, and so he used to train in army boots, and like you do like 400s or something in army boots. And his wife was a javelin thrower for Czechoslovakia. And I feel like in his first marathon, he kind of ran alongside the guys at the front. It's like, you sure we're going fast enough? And then just took off and won it. So he was just a very, very tough guy.
Yeah.
But very successful.
I recognise the stories you tell it. Did he run, his wife would throw the javelin, he would run and pick it up and bring it back. And then that was their workouts.
No, I think he ran a bit further than that.
Okay. I feel like I must have heard that somewhere. Maybe that's a fake stories of.
She may have kind of sent him to get them.
Yeah.
That would have been the warm down, I think, right at the end, because he did a lot of hard training.
Okay.
Wow. Well, thank you. It's honestly been incredible to chat to doing one of the very greatest of all time.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a huge privilege for us. And it's a huge privilege for us to have an amazing live audience. And we'd love to say thank you all for joining us. Thanks everyone at home for listening. And thank you for the Great North Run for sponsoring us and supporting us here as well.
And good luck to everybody who is taking part over the weekend, but especially on Sunday.
And if you want to listen and hear more from Paula, please do check out her amazing podcast, Paula's Run Club, as well.
Or you could join us for a shakeout tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.